Hello and welcome back to another episode of Land Rover Restorations. Just going to add this little bit onto the beginning of this video, even though the rest of the video will be all the bodywork and everything like I said last time. I didn't show you about the diff. I haven't showed you about the diff on the first one or the second lot of axles we've got on. And I've actually rebuilt the diff on this one, so I thought I'd show you, just so you know, well, just for reference. So, let me turn you around a bit here. You can see. So there's the diff. There's the diff complete. Well, the diff casing. So the drive where your prop shaft bolts onto here was really loose, all over the place. So I took it apart and basically, cut a long story short, the bearings in here were shot away. So I had to replace the bearings on the pinion shaft. So this is the pinion shaft. So the pinion is the bit that sits in. That bit there is your flange, it bolts onto your prop shaft, and then it comes in here, and then this drives the actual diff. The diff is there. So once you take one apart, you'll understand it. But I just want to show you this. So in your housing, you've painted this up, cleaned it all up, painted it. In the housing, you've got an outer bearing up there and an inner bearing a bit lower down. And both the cones are sort of facing like that, away from each other. So when you do the bolt up, it pushes down on the flange, which pushes these two together. Obviously, if you push them too tight together, you won't turn the shaft, and if it's too loose, they'll be all loose. The way you adjust is by putting these shims in here, and those shims sit there, so when the bearing comes down onto it, you get the right amount of movement. Well, no movement at all. It should be, it says in the manual, between 6 and 10 pounds resistance, and I haven't got any way of measuring resistance on here, so basically you just get to feel it. It's just a bit of a small amount of resistance. If it's real loose and floppy, it's too loose, and if you can't turn it, it's too tight. So 6 to 10 pounds, you know, just a little bit of resistance. This bolt has to go up to 85 pounds, so you do that up really tight. And I've adjusted it now with these shims. I've just been putting it in and out. You put it together first without the oil seal or anything in here, because on top of here goes your casing with your oil seal in and your flange. But I've been putting it together without anything in there, just so it, you know, the oil seal will give it a bit of resistance, and we don't want that. So that's how that goes together. And then obviously this side, your diff sits in there, and then your two half shafts come in either side. So your pinion goes up and drives that. Another setting you have to do is where this crown wheel meets onto the pinion drive, which is there. Obviously it comes up from underneath. So where them two meet, I think it's called backlash. I'm not going to go into it in any massive technical terms. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that show you how to set these up. But I think you should have about a millimetre of backlash. Basically, so when you click this back and forth onto your pinion wheel, it just tiny bit of movement so everything gets hot and you need to get the oil in between the teeth. And the way you adjust that is either side, once it's all clamped together, you've got adjusters. So first of all, you adjust this one across to push it up gently against the crown wheel, and then you just pinch this one up, and then you keep moving it until you've got your nice, I'll have a look in the manual to see what it says, but I'm sure it's normally about a millimetre of movement, something like that. And that's that. And then obviously this whole assembly bolts back into your axle casing, and your two half shafts slide into the side with all nice new bearings in. I've just had a look at the front as well, and it looks like the front is loose as well, so I might have to put new bearings on the front, which isn't a bad job to do at the moment because it's all apart. But just press these new bearings back in. You just new roller bearings and press all the outers back in, and then it all just goes back together like that. So there's where your shims go, like I say. Really straightforward. And yeah, well, I'll put this one back together now. So the crown wheel up from underneath, Just sort of hold it for a minute. So that sits into that bearing down there. Then your shims go on. Then your bearing. Obviously that bearing is going to be pulled down the shaft. Then you have like a spacer washer goes on, and then your flange, which is obviously goes on there. The tab doesn't go on. Then your washer, then your bolt. So that will all pull that down, and like I say, the setting's correct. I'm not putting it on now because I've got the oil seal and that on this time. Oil seal bolts on there. So I hope that kind of makes sense to how they go together. Get your resistance on this, so you can just feel a nice gentle bit of 6 pounds resistance on there, which means the two bearings are pinched together nicely. That all goes in, prop shaft on here, half shafts in, and all I've got to do is set the brakes up on the rear axle. I might show you that actually when we've got the rear axle done, rather than missing these bits out. So yeah, I hope that makes sense-ish. We get on to pull this together now, get it all back together. I'll do the brakes, see if they look tricky or not, or if it's worth showing anybody, and then we get on to the front axle. Okay, I thought I'd just show you the finished diff. There it is, all done. You put this wire that goes through the bolt, through the tab and back, so it does two things. It stops these bolts coming undone. It also stops the tab lifting up, which keeps that screwed in. So it's all finished, all good, ready to go back on. I made myself a couple of tools. This one here, which is just an old blade, well, an old bit of metal with some bolts in, just for doing up these. Like I say, there's loads of stuff on the internet about this. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but you just basically do these up till they pinch, and then you push them across, push the whole diff across a couple of turns just to get the correct backlash. So the backlash is the amount this moves on the chrome wheel moves on the pinions. So the pinion's down here, the pinion where we did the bearings, that's in there. Obviously that can't be tight, the chrome wheel can't be tight on the pinion, it needs to have a slight gap, and it's basically just a clonk. I think it's something like, again I have to look in the manual, 1/2 mil or something like that of clearance. So I set it up, I thought, oh, that's about 1/2 mil, and I thought, I'm going to check. So I bought myself it's really cheap off of the internet, this gauge, a dial gauge. It's quite good if you own Land Rovers, because you have to set up the various things with them. So you basically just set this up, it magnets onto there, and then you set that up so it's just on one of these teeth, zero it, and then just clonk it back and forth. And I set it up thinking it was about right, and it was actually about 3 mil it was moving, so it just shows you how far out I was. And to adjust it, you obviously just do one of the screws up and let one of the screws off, which moves it further or closer to the pinion wheel, which gives you more or less clearance sort of thing. So there it is, all good. So now I can get this back on, and then I can get both the half shafts back in, bolted back on, brakes on, drums on, get the whole back axle finished. Just started stripping the front one down. I thought it might be okay, but it's not. The bearings are absolutely shot away. No matter what I do, I can't get the pinion to go tight. Well, tight enough, it's just loose in there, so that outer bearing is absolutely shot away. So I've just ordered a couple of new bearings, stick them in, and then rebuild this one. I don't know if I said last time, but when I took it apart I always drill, so that's number 2, and it corresponds with that one. So you obviously know that that's all machined nicely. You get it on so you don't put it on the wrong side. Yeah, and exactly the same, get all that one cleaned up, get that one painted, and then that's ready to go on the front. So yeah, get the back axle rebuilt. Okay, so I can't quite remember where we were last time, but obviously all the axles are done now. As we said last time, I'm just giving the centre bits a coat of red paint, because obviously you see them, they stick through the wheel. So that's had one coat, just going to give it another coat, just taking the drums off to paint that side so it's easier. Also the tub is getting there, but as you can see, lots of rain. So it's all been cleaned and primered. Managed to get a coat of primer on the other day. So yeah, all primered and ready to go. I'm literally just waiting for the weather to cheer up. As soon as it cheers up, that's why it's been so slow the last few months, because it's been rubbish weather. As soon as it cheers up, I'll spray all this blue, get all this spray blue, and then I will turn it over and prep all the outside and get all that painted red, and then we'll take it inside and put it on the vehicle. So in the meantime, I thought I'll get on with some other things while I'm waiting for the weather to cheer up. So I've cut this piece of aluminium here, and this is going to go up there above to the sign, Aircraft Crash Rescue. I've got a picture of one of these now. This is number 3. I believe I've got the picture of, this is number 7, sorry, I believe the picture of number 3 is one that I've got looking at the number plate. So I've got a picture of it, and it shows the sign across the top. It's about that size by the looks of it. So I've literally just picked up these bits of square 20mm box section. So I'm going to make two frames go along the back, all the way along, top and bottom, and then an upright there, and an upright there, and have that bit of plate there, cut that in half or cut it into bits, and have that as a foot. So the foot will sit on there, and then obviously the upright up and across. So I'm going to play about with that and get all that cleaned. I've got somebody who's going to white it for me, so all I need to do is paint it red, and then I'm going to give it to them to get it all done. But I'll build it first. That's all welded and done. Get this riveted to the frame, clean the edges up, get it clean back to alley, etch prime it, get it on there, and then I have a thinner piece of flat, which is that. Got that as well from the metal company while I was there, and it's to mount the bell. So basically, I looked at the picture and you can see a wrap around here. So I'm going to make a piece of this flat metal wrap around here and come out the back, so the bell will mount up in here on that wrap. A bit hard to explain, but you'll see it when it's done. So yeah, it's all good now. I will show you the Aircraft Crash Rescue sign when it's welded, which I'm going to get on with now, and then might end this video and start another one, because it's taken forever, this part, like I say, because of the weather. But yeah, I'll get on and get this made. Okay, so that is that on there, like that. Just going to put the front on now, which is the aluminium on front of this, and then I can clean all this up and paint it. That should be pretty good. Okay, so all finished. Cleaned all the alley up, riveted that on the front, cleaned all the edges up, etch primed it, sprayed all the back, let that dry, turn it over. Now I've just sprayed all the front. Should be pretty good. Just got to let that go off now, and then give it to our friend who's going to sign write it for us. Same as I've got the picture from the book, so get them to write that, sign write it for us. Next job, I gave the hubs a second coat, so they're all nice, and that one back there. So next job is, out of that smaller steel, I'm going to make the wrap around the bumper for the bell. So I got the old bumper, which is absolutely knackered, which is this one, which is original, but I had to replace it because it's just unrepairable. You can see it's just in such a mess. So I'm going to use this as a template so I can make the steel around it. But I did notice on here, which is obviously the original hole, they had the bell mounted from originally, so that's been welded on there next to the bracket. So this is roughly where the bell will go again, but I'm going to do it slightly different as per the photo that I've got inside. Rather than welding my nice new bumper, they've just got some metal that sort of goes around almost like a clamp underneath, and I'm going to come 45 back out here, flat back it here and have a hole, so put the bell through there. So yeah, I'm going to make that next, then hopefully the weather will cheer up and we can get outside. Okay, so we have the bell on. So as I said, I was just going to get this, yeah, this sort of thin metal, bent it round, made like a 45, what do you see? Yeah, 45 foot on the back and bolted it through there. I'm going to lock, I've already put a split pin through the bottom so that can't come off, and then I'll put some thread seal on the thread so it won't come undone, just basically so nobody will take it. And there's the wire running to it, which I've just run along the back there, and back in I've got some proper vintage braided wire. I'll put the battery on quickly. So, as I showed before, the switch I put up here, which you can't really see, but ignition on, and pretty noisy. So yeah, that's the bell done. Looks quite cool on there. So our friend is, as we speak, sign writing the sign that we made up the other day. Yeah, I'll shut it all down in a minute and pack it up. So out here, obviously we've seen this all been sprayed. I've just got to go through and put these rubbers on. Unfortunately, the original leather ones, which are sort of full size, all were knackered and all falling apart. So I've had to order some new ones, but this is all they do now, is these rubber ones, which the holes don't line up. So I'm just going to use that hole every time and drill a new one and rivet them on. So go through, put them on, and then I could turn this over, and then we'll start work on the outside, start grinding it all back to metal, filling it all, getting it all back to shape, and then spraying it all red, and then we can carry that in. Yes, that'll be it for this video. Like I just said, we get that top finished, get the tub finished, get those, and bring it in here and lift it on here. So next time, the next video, we will have the sign done, we will be doing the tub, and be getting there. Okay, catch you next time.